with that, we're going to begin our report here for March 22nd. A little bit of the 21st in there as well, kind of a combination report. Again, this will be our morning morning report here, morning afternoon report for March 22nd, 2022. We're going to get everybody updated here on the events of the last 6 to 12 hours, maybe even reaching back into the 24-hour period here. Going to get everybody caught up on what's going on here in Ukraine. Some of the top headlines today. Powerful bombs have rocked Ukraine's besieged Mariupol amid a new bid for rescue evacuations. That comes as the town of Mariupol has been bombarded severely over the past week. It's been surrounded now fully by the Russian forces. I'm going to go ahead and just bump down that volume a little bit for that camera there, just while we're giving this report here. The Ukrainian Defense Forces have kind of retaken a key suburb, a key Kiev suburb near on the outskirts of the city. We'll be covering that as well. Again, that battle's kind of raging on in Mariupol. Kiev, the government in Kiev, the Ukrainian government has refused to surrender Mariupol. I know there was that so to speak, what's the word I'm looking for? Obligation. There was that ultimatum given by Moscow there to surrender Mariupol. The Ukrainian government has refused that request. U.S. President Biden warns that Russian President Putin is weighing his options of deploying chemical weapons in Ukraine. Again, this comes as there has been talk and rhetoric and kind of false flag narrative being built over the past few weeks now involving the possibility here of these chemical weapons. Somebody asked if Cam 1 is frozen. Yeah, it's that Kharkiv ski cam. Again, it freezes like every few minutes, and if we don't refresh it, usually it unfreezes itself, but I'll go ahead and I'll refresh that for you guys really quickly. Okay, there we go. Yeah, a lot going on that Kharkiv ski cam. Unfortunately, it does like to freeze up quite often from that feed. Chechen leader Ramzan Kadyrov has posted a video on his Telegram page that reportedly showed a arrival of Chechen fighters in the encircled city of Mariupol. And again, we've been seeing all week countless videos. I would say in the thousands of these videos of showing these Chechen fighters. They've been flooded all over YouTube. These videos of these Chechen fighters moving into Ukraine. It's been kind of this big propaganda tactic being used by the Kremlin. We've seen them all over TikTok, all over YouTube. They're everywhere. These videos of these massive amounts of these Chechen fighters moving in here, there, and elsewhere, etc. Russia has withdrawn from the peace treaty talks with Japan and frozen joint economic projects related to the disputed Kuril Islands due to sanctions imposed by Tokyo. This comes as a slew of other countries have kind of joined in on the sanction game here, so to speak, tightening that grip on the Kremlin. Ukrainian forces say they have regained control of Kharkiv. Again, that's that suburb west of Kiev that has seen a lot of fighting in the past week or so. The Ukrainian forces have gained a lot of ground in certain areas around Kiev, and at the same time, the Russian forces have been able to gain some ground in certain areas as well. So it's been kind of a stalemate on the outskirts there over the past week or so. The Ukrainians have been very efficient at thwarting these Russian advances and keeping these Russian forces at bay on the outskirts of the city. And we've seen kind of a reflection from that in the way that Moscow has now begun to bombard the city more heavily. We've definitely seen an uptick of explosions. We've seen an uptick of bombardment, of things like shelling, missile strikes in and around the capital of Kiev. Okay, so moving on. The Russian opposition leader, Alexei Navalny, was found guilty of fraud by a Moscow court, which was reported today by Russian state media. The Netherlands has frozen nearly 431 million in Russian assets. The Dutch Ministry of Finance told Parliament via a letter today. Again, kind of a continuation of those sanctions and the embargoing that's happening now to put that pressure on Russia financially and economically. Russian Nobel Peace Prize winner Dmitry Muratov will auction his medical for Ukrainian refugees. He's going to be selling his Nobel Peace Prize there, and he's going to be giving the proceeds from that to Ukrainian refugees. Very interesting development there. Again, there's been a lot of talk about the hypersonic missiles that Russia has launched in the past week or two here. We'll be kind of going into more into depth about that, I think, later this evening. Again, it's been kind of hard to get confirmed reports, about the efficiency, the targets that are being struck by these, because there's a lot going on. Uh, uh, there's a lot of reports coming out of the region. Okay, and so sometimes we don't get concrete information on what was hit, how many casualties there was, what was the level of destruction, the collateral damage, until a day, sometimes multiple days later, we finally get a clear understanding of what happened. A lot of people have been asking me to cover, to talk about those hypersonic missiles that have been in use over the past week or so here. I'll be getting more information. We'll be kind of going into depth on some of the more novel weapon systems that Russia has been putting to use here on the battlefield in Ukraine. Another headline today: a journalist was reportedly kidnapped and tortured by Russian soldiers in Ukraine. That comes as the Russian forces have been pretty indiscriminate at targeting civilians and journalists. We saw, I mean, early on we saw that Sky News team get hit. There's been multiple reporters that have lost their lives in the conflict so far, including a reporter for Fox News that got hit. There was another video journalist. I believe he worked for the New York Times, New York Post. I forgot, but he was a pretty prominent video journalist that died in Ukraine there. There's been quite a few attacks on journalists, at least Western journalists. There really hasn't been too many attacks on, Russian media outlet journalists. They're kind of allowed to freely operate, within the region, within the Russian-controlled areas. We've seen, a lot of news reports coming out from, RT and Russian independent news outlets, things like that. Patrick Lancaster, etc. We've seen a lot of reports coming from those outlets. They're allowed to operate within, the Russian-controlled area, totally fine. But any Western journalists have been, pretty severely targeted here in this conflict so far. Reporting earlier, a local journalist working for a French radio station in Ukraine was kidnapped and tortured by Russian soldiers earlier this month, according to the nonprofit group Reporters Without Borders. Nikita, 32, whose name has been changed for his security, was held for 9 days and subjected to electric shocks, beatings, an iron bar, and mock execution. He told again those reporters there. Again, just a chilling testimony there of uh, some of the attacks on some of those journalists that we're seeing there in Ukraine. Some other updates from yesterday evening. Zielinski spoke with French President Macron and the Prime Minister of the Netherlands to cooperate a summit in Europe, saying meetings of the G7 leaders of NATO and the EU will take place on March 24th. So that is 2 days from now. We're hoping that those talks can yield some good results, as a lot of the diplomatic ventures over the past few weeks have rendered really nothing in the way of progress when it comes to finding a solution here to end this conflict. a Russian tabloid, Komsomolskaya Pravda, posts then removed report on Defense Ministry's count of Russian soldier deaths in Ukraine. The Russian Ministry of Defense had recorded about 9,861 deaths. Those are from the Russian armed forces directly, and 16,153 wounded in the war in Ukraine. Of course, those numbers are believed to be skewed on both sides of the conflict, and somewhere the truth on those numbers really lies somewhere in the middle. Again, speaking to those hypersonic missiles, Biden had confirmed yesterday evening that Russia's use of their Kinzhal hypersonic missiles has, it's been indeed confirmed now. Again, we'll be going into that more later this evening. The UN has set up safe spaces along the borders in neighboring countries and have reached more than 330,000 people with food and assistance. That comes as that humanitarian crisis grows on the borders of Ukraine, Poland, etc., Romania, Moldova, even Russia. There's people evacuated on all sides of the country. Zielinski says that any compromises reached to bring the war with Russia to an end must be approved by the Ukrainian people in a referendum. That comes as they want to make sure that the Kremlin isn't installing a 100% pro-Russian government in Kiev. They want to make sure that any decisions that are made by the people. The White House urged businesses to strengthen their cybersecurity capabilities in an event Russia launches network attacks. This comes as I've been discussing this for months now and talking to people. There's been reports and warnings out for about the past 3 or 4 months, even going right back to the Colonial Pipeline hack, which I have called a few times a beta test for what we would be looking at here for a cyber attack, a novel cyber attack by Russian state actors or even possibly Chinese state actors. Again, we've been talking a lot about that scenario over the past few weeks now. Again, we've seen multiple very urgent press releases by the U.S. government, by the White House over the past few days here, urging businesses, both small and large, including individuals in some cases, to beef up their personal cybersecurity. This comes again as the threat of Russian cyber attacks grows by the hour. Some would argue that we've already been under quite a few Russian cyber attacks over the past few weeks here. There has been some activity. In fact, we've probably seen the most cyber warfare activity that we've seen in the past 5 years, just in the span of a few weeks. Again, there is a possibility looming that Russia could, retaliate against the U.S., against Europe, and its allies with a very large, possibly novel zero-day attack of some kind, and so that is what the U.S. here is trying to warn people about. The U.S. is sending some of the Soviet-made air defense equipment it secretly acquired decades ago to bolster the Ukrainian military as it seeks to fend off Russian air and missile attacks. U.S. officials stated yesterday officially we had been hearing unconfirmed reports, rumors, so to speak, of that activity happening, but it has now been confirmed that they will be sending those Soviet-era air defense systems over to Ukraine to assist in the war effort. Okay, so switching gears here, I'm going to be reading through a little bit of the report that our writing team has written up for us over on the community Discord. We have a large community that we've been building over there of everything from tech enthusiasts, flight radar analysts, radio analysts, translators. We now have a writing team. We have editors as well. And so our writing team has begun to put together some reports for us to hear that we will be using on the show. This is our report from our writing team from the morning, again, of the 22nd today. Russia warns U.S. That diplomatic relations are on the verge of breaking. Again, this comes as Biden has called Putin a murderous dictator, the Kremlin summoned the U.S. Ambassador John Sullivan to Russia for a meeting to officially protest President Biden's recent comments and a characterization of Vladimir Putin as, quote, a murderous dictator. He also, there's the words of war crime, he calling him a war criminal as well, which I believe happened earlier this week. Kremlin is unhappy with President Biden's recent criticism of the Russian president, calling Putin a murderous dictator, a pure thug who is waging a immoral war against the people of Ukraine, and previously a war criminal, air quotes. It was emphasized that remarks such as these by the American president, which are unworthy of a state figure of such a high rank, put Russian-American relations on the verge of a breach. Again, those reports come from the Daily Mail there. There's been a lot of talk about those diplomatic relations. The ties are being severed now on many different sides of the stage, and you see again, the rhetoric being ramped up to 11 over the past week, and so this is kind of some of the consequences of that rhetoric being ramped up. We're going to see, kind of retaliation on both sides as part of this kind of tit for tat narrative war, this tit for tat propaganda war that's happening here. All right, moving on. The U.S. has, again, kind of to circle back to the acquired Soviet air defense weapons. The Pentagon over the years has acquired Soviet equipment as part of a clandestine program, and now such weapons are being sent directly to Ukraine. To be included, the SA-8 short-range surface-to-air missile systems. However, both the National Security Agency and the Pentagon declined to comment on what specific weapons the U.S. has sent to Ukraine. The Biden administration has approved more than $1 billion in military aid in the past month. The Kremlin has publicly stated that any Western country that provides certain weapons to Ukraine, including aircraft and missile defense systems, could be seen as entering the fight. Again, kind of threatening that they could, respond against any actors that are supplying weapons directly to Ukraine. The U.S. has a small number of Soviet missile defense systems that it acquired in the past 30 years in a $100 million secret project, such as the S-300 long-range air defense system. That, however, will not be sent to Ukraine at this time, possibly holding that one on the back burner. Children's Hospital was shelled again today in Severodonetsk. The Kiev Independent shared the Ukraine State Emergency Service reported. The Kiev Independent shared the Ukraine State Emergency Service reported Russia shelled a children's hospital in Severodonetsk. That again is in the Luhansk Oblast. The hospital's roof caught fire. 7 children and 15 adults, 8 of whom were doctors, were evacuated to a safe place. Any injuries or casualties at this time are unknown. Rescuers emphasize that Severodonetsk, Rubzin, Lysychansk, Papansa, Novodrozesk, and Tosahivka are once again suffering from shelling by the Russian army. Those reporting again coming from the Kiev Independent, Live UA, and Rubrika. So moving on here, these are some estimates of the Russian losses as of March 22. These are indicative estimates of Russia's losses, again, as of March 22, according to the armed forces of Ukraine. And I'd just like to reiterate that these losses are probably somewhere in the middle between what the Russians are saying and what the Ukrainians are saying. That would be probably the most accurate assessment. From the Kiev Independent, though, they're reporting today that 15,300 troops have been killed in this conflict. 123 helicopters, 509 tanks, 35 UAVs, 80 MLRS Grad systems, those are the missile-launched rocket artillery there, 3 boats, 70 fuel tanks, 45 anti-aircraft pieces of anti-aircraft hardware, 15 special equipment, 99 planes, 1,000 vehicles, 252 pieces of artillery, and 1,556 armored personnel carriers. So yeah, quite a bit of losses there by those Russian forces. Again, so this is a speculative piece with reporting from Reuters here. President Biden, again, there's some speculation going around now, that Putin is considering this chemical attack on Ukraine. President Biden on Monday claimed Putin is considering the use of chemical weapons in Ukraine, though has cited no evidence. President Biden, and so again, so this is a statement by President Biden. He said, and so his back is against the wall, and now he's talking about new false flags he's setting up, including he's asserting that we, America, have biological as well as chemical weapons in Europe. Simply not true. I guarantee you. They're also suggesting that Ukraine has biological and chemical weapons in Ukraine. That's a clear sign he's considering using both of those. Danielle Sheridan, a defense and political correspondent at the Daily Telegraph, reported today that former NATO commander tells me that Putin is likely to use chemical weapons in Ukraine because the West won't respond, based on previous inaction in Syria. Sheridan spoke with Hamish de Brenton Gordon, a former UK and NATO commander of chemical, biological, and nuclear defense forces, that had those statements. Again, those sources are the Reuters and Danielle Sheridan, who again is the defense and political correspondent at the Daily Telegraph. And again, that information coming from that former NATO commander. So switching gears here, again, we've been talking about this possible pincer movement that they're looking to move. Again, I've been calling this for weeks, the involvement of the Belarusian forces. We knew they were going to get involved. The question was when and in what capacity. So now it is looking, in fact, like they are looking to get involved here in the fight. At least the satellite imagery and some of the troop movements we've been seeing over the past few days are indicative of that. Again, possible new troop development in Belarus. National Security reporter Jack Detz reports Russia has deployed more ground forces in southern Belarus, just 18 miles from Ukraine's border. Again, we have satellite imagery from Maxar indicating new troop tents and equipment being staged in the Belarusian city of Dublin. Again, coming from sources there, Maxar and Jack Detz are the sources there on those troop deployments in Belarus. They would most likely be looking to move down that western border with Poland there and cut off all of the supplies and all of the evacuations that are occurring to the west in order to, again, kind of choke off the country, cut off the country from supplies. All right. Moving on here, Russia breaks a World War II treaty with Japan, to kind of circle back to what we were speaking about earlier. In response to recent sanctions by Tokyo, Russia announced it would stop negotiations with Japan in regards to a post-World War II peace treaty. In a statement on Monday, the Russian Foreign Ministry said, air quotes, the nation will not continue talks which have attempted to solve decades-old territorial dispute over islands seized by the USSR at the end of World War II. Japan's anti-Russian policy and, air quotes, openly unfriendly positions were cited for this decision. The Russian embassy in London, meanwhile, tweeted a photo of the disputed islands using their Russian names after their announcement was made. Japan still claims the islands despite Russian occupation of them since 1956. A Russian official says the two nations will never achieve a consensus on the Kuril Islands. Japan protests the decision to end the World War II peace treaty, of course. In addition to sanctioning Moscow, Japan has pledged $100 million in aid to Ukraine and is accepting refugees. The sources on that are The Hill, Republic World, and the Phnom Penh Post, again coming out of Japan there. So moving on, Zielinski again pressing for those meetings with Putin. He really wants to get some peace talks here, kind of get the ball rolling on those peace talks. Rumors of a meeting between President Zielinski and President Putin have been circulating recently on Twitter and other social media sites. President Zielinski on Monday continues to press for a meeting with President Putin, stating the war in his country will not be able to end without one. He states a meeting would allow both leaders to discuss the future of occupied Ukrainian territory. However, a Kremlin spokesman said that it is too early to discuss a meeting between Putin and Zielinski at this time. There has yet to be a breakthrough in peace talks over the ongoing war. Again, the sources on that is The Hill and the National Herald. Again, Zielinski pushing for those push talks, looking to get the ball rolling on that. He knows that it's the only way really to end this here is to get Putin to the negotiating table, get the Kremlin to the negotiating table, and hope that they're willing to make some concessions. I mean, of course, Ukraine is probably going to have to concede somewhere along the line. They're going to have to compensate something along the line somewhere, and so they're hoping they can at least do that to save some lives. And again, to stop this war from continuing onward. Okay. A U.S. admiral says that China is fully militarized isles, has fully militarized isles. Again, China has fully militarized at least three of several artificial islands in the disputed South China Sea. Islands have been armed with anti-ship, anti-aircraft systems, laser and jamming equipment, and fighter jets. These actions are in stark contrast to Beijing's assurance that these islands would see no military bases. There has been no immediate comment from Chinese officials. This comes reported again from AP News. We've seen this activity ongoing for years now, but there has been a sharp increase in the readiness level, in the activity that we're seeing in the South Pacific there by the Chinese military. So that definitely comes as some concern. President Zelensky's message to Italy. Again, there was an address there from Zelensky to Italian Parliament this morning. In a speech, he urged the country to freeze all assets of Russia's elite, their oligarchy there. He's saying Italy must stop being a resort for murderers. He said, urging the country to ban Russian ships from ports, seize assets, and declare a full trade embargo. You know very well who saying you know very well who orders troops to go to war and who propagates this. Almost all of them use Italy as a place to rest. Again, those reports coming from the Daily Mail. All right, switching over here, we have a little section of these are social media reports and unconfirmed reports. Again, we like to call everything that comes from any social media platform. So even if that's, say, like Nexta on Twitter or Kiev Independent on Twitter or a Telegram source, whatever it is, even if it's coming from a verified and official means, we like to take everything that we're seeing on these platforms with a grain of salt. So that's why we're vocalizing that these are social media reports and unconfirmed. The first report up comes from First Squawk on Twitter, stating that Hungarian fighter jets have been scrambled due to an unidentified aircraft from Ukraine. This comes earlier today. We still have yet to get some more confirmed information on that, but we will try to bring you some updates on that with our later reports today. This comes from Anonymous TV on Twitter. The Anonymous Collective has leaked 10 gigabytes of data from Nestle, emails, passwords, and business customers, etc. This was earlier today. Another tweet here from Open Source Intelligence Eye, stating that U.S. defense officials say Ukraine has launched a counteroffensive around Izium, south of Kharkiv. This is going to tie down Russian forces that are attempting to encircle Ukrainian forces along the previous front line in the Donbass. We have seen some other reports around this possible development here around Kharkiv. Again, we're going to have to bring you some more concrete information on that later today. A tweet coming from Viktor Kovalenko stating that Ukrainian intelligence warns that the Russian army command demands from the Belarusian army to invade western Ukraine and to cut two major supply roads, Kiev Kovel and the Kiev Chop. At the moment, Belarus is hesitating. However, we have seen those reports and those images that those forces are positioned on the border. Again, the northern Ukrainian Belarusian border there. So here, the next up, we have two tweets here coming from Nexta on Twitter. Again, they've had some, they've had some pretty concrete reporting over the past month or so. It's been spotty at times, but mostly, for the most part, it's been pretty concrete. Um, uh, this report here says it is reported that the Russian occupiers in Bucha, Irpin, and Gostomel are cut off from supplies and are now surrounded by Ukrainian defense forces. Another report by Nexta stating that it's reported that Russia's only tank manufacturer, Uralvala Gunzavad, has stopped production due to lack of component parts. This comes as the sanctions and the financial pressure that is being put on Moscow is starting to affect some of their war manufacturing. We've seen multiple reports of this. It remains to be seen if they will be able to start sourcing some of those parts from within the country. If not, they could have a problem on their hands if this war decides to continue on. Okay, so again, we have some morning report polling here that was done for us again from our writing team who aggregated this. I believe the sources on this are Stratcom Center of Ukraine and American Military News. They ran a poll showing that 86% support invasion, 75% say Poland should be next. So this comes from Russia. I believe these are polling numbers that were done in Russia. 86% of the Russian population support the invasion. 75% are saying that Poland should be next. A very concerning development there. So the reporting on this, a poll has been conducted by Active Group and shared to Twitter by the Center for Strategic Communications and Information Security under the Ministry of Culture and Information Policy of Ukraine. 86.6% of Russians tolerate and support the potential assault on the territory of the EU, including Poland, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Bulgaria, and the Czech Republic, Slovakia, and others. The poll also revealed that 75.5% of Russians agree that Poland should be next. Respondents said that targeting Poland makes sense if the military special operation of the Russian Federation. 25.5% strongly oppose use of nuclear weapons, while 40.3% regard nuclear attack as absolutely acceptable, and 34.3% would support nuclear weapon use to some extent. Moreover, nearly half of the respondents are absolutely sure Russia should attack the EU, while 13.4% oppose the idea. Again, those are Russian numbers coming from a Russian polling agency. Again, very hard to confirm those numbers are true. It most likely is, again, kind of a propaganda tactic. They're saying reliability of this survey is uncertain. I would just like to drive that home. That I don't believe that many Russian citizens support this activity or support that idea. I don't. I think that's a large stretch of the imagination. So. Another super yacht docked in Italy, suspected belongs to Putin. Activists working with Putin opponent Alexei Navalny say a super yacht is staffed by members of Russian state security that may include Putin's bodyguards. The Sherazade is one of the world's largest super yachts. Owner isn't publicly known and rumored to belong to Putin. Though open source search activates say. At least 10 FSO officers were listed as crew for the yacht. This has not been able to be confirmed. Again, that reporting coming from Insider. So that concludes our March 22nd. Just the reports that our writing team has written up for us. We're now going to switch over to Live UA Map, and we're going to go through all of the updates from the past 12 to 24 hours from our sources over here on Live UA Map. Okay. All right. So I'm going to scroll back to about 12 hours, as usual. And we will go from about 12 hours ago till now and get everybody caught up on the situation in and around Ukraine. We'll start here at 14 hours ago with the mayor of Boryspil urging civilians to leave the city. Again, that was yesterday. I'll get that on the map here for you. That is southeast of the capital city there of Kiev. 10 hours ago, Russian troops shelled a petrol station in Mykolaiv. 3 killed, 1 woman has been injured. Again, that is on the southern coast there near Kherson. In fact, I see another. Okay, so 7 hours ago, near Mykolaiv in Kherson, there, Russian troops used tear gas to disperse protesters in Kherson. When I see that chemical logo pop up, I get really interested to see what exactly they're talking about there. Okay, so Russian troops shelled a petrol station in Mykolaiv. 3 were killed, 1 woman injured. Again, there's a picture here of that damage of firefighters putting that fire out there at that gas station. A very dangerous situation there. You can see, I believe they're using foam there. If I'm not mistaken, it looks like foam is being deployed there to put out that fuel fire. 10 hours ago, Russia shells the Zhytomyr Oblast. 3 houses destroyed, 10 damaged. Buildings near Malin were shelled by Russian troops, Ukraine State Emergency Service said on March 22nd. Again, you can see here, Zhytomyr Oblast takes up this entire area. So we have some sirens here coming in from our Lviv Oblast cam. I'll check our alerts, but I'm going to mute that just so you guys can hear me. I'll check our siren alerts. We have, again, our new siren alert channel set up on the Discord. If you want those alerts, you can pick up the alert rank, the alert role in the welcome channel. That way you'll get notifications whenever there are siren alerts being generated. So yeah, just now, this just came in. 2 minutes ago, this is an all-clear siren coming out of Lviv Oblast for the entire region that you're hearing on screen right now. So that was, again, a all-clear siren for Lviv. Okay, so going back to the live UA map here, 9 hours ago, the Russian artillery increased shelling of Kharkiv and suburbs. 84 shellings have been recorded in 24 hours, says the head of Kharkiv Regional Administration. If you go over here to the 9 hours ago mark, you can see just how many reports of shelling and explosions have been reported in the region in and around Kharkiv. I reiterate this again, sounding like a broken record, that Kharkiv has been probably the hardest hit city in all of Ukraine since this war has begun. Again, really quickly, I'm gonna just refresh that. I'm gonna refresh that Kharkiv camera. Because our Kharkiv ski hill camera does freeze up occasionally, and I want to make sure that it is live and current for everybody. Okay, there we go. All right. All right, there it is there. Again, just want to thank everybody for tuning in today. Glad to have everybody on the show. Continuing on here with our live UA map. Just now, 9 hours ago, again, I mentioned Russian artillery increased shelling Kharkiv. A lot of the explosions that we see here at night on this ski cam are those reports. Okay, we're looking right in the direction of Kharkiv, of the city, and at night we see explosions from the left side of the frame all the way over to the right side of the frame. We've seen fires break out over there. We've seen all sorts of activity on those Kharkiv cams. Definitely has been very tense shelling, very intense shelling, and very intense bombardment of the city of Kharkiv. Not just the city, but the entire region. Okay, so Mustun village near Kiev was fully cleared of Russian troops. Again, we've heard a few reports there of up by Hostomel and the airport there that they have been really effective. The Ukrainian forces have been very effective at repelling those Russian troops. Here is a video of that action. Let me get that up on screen here for you. Again, this comes from Telegram. Okay, well, some footage there of those Ukrainian forces after they had cleared the that town there of Mostchun. It's a village there near Kiev. Was fully cleared of those Russian troops. Again, sorry for that. The hard base. For instance, for some reason, all of the Telegram videos that we see of these Russian troop movements or of these reports, they all have a hard base attached to them. 8 hours ago, location of a Russian firing position seen on Maxar imagery from yesterday in a field northwest of Irpin. You can see they're located on the map. That Maxar imagery has been very handy. 8 hours ago, Russian army shelled a Mykolaiv seaport, badly damaged but no casualties. Again, that comes as the Russians look to kind of they look to bombard and kind of start their advance on some of these port cities down here on the southern coast of Ukraine. 8 hours ago, Poland's president, Andrzej Duda, after the meeting with the Bulgarian president, says Russian leadership behaves in Ukraine like Hitler, like the SS during World War II in Poland. These are unprecedented massacres. Again, that comes as these claims of genocide, claims of war crimes are being passed around. Again, very dicey rhetoric that we're hearing here. 7 hours ago, interception over Belgorod. Russian channels claim that the Russian ADs intercepted a Ukrainian missile. You can see those images there of those missiles being intercepted in the air. Again, kind of hard to confirm those reports. 7 hours ago, Russian troops used tear gas to disperse protesters in Ukraine. Again, I just mentioned that a few moments ago. There's some images there of those of some of those munitions that were used on those protesters in Kherson. 7 hours ago, strong explosions are also heard in different districts of Kharkiv. Again, just to reiterate and drive it home, Kharkiv has been very heavily shelled over the past month and continues to be, as those Ukrainian forces are just refusing to give up ground there in Kharkiv. And so, unfortunately, the Russians are switching over to bombarding them now more heavily. 7 hours ago, a NATO spokeswoman states that the alliance has strengthened its defense's presence in the eastern part with more forces, aircraft, and ships. Speaking to again the Eastern European NATO countries. 7 hours ago, Russian planes dropped two heavy bombs on the city of Mariupol. That comes 7 hours ago. You can see there on the map that Mariupol is basically totally surrounded by Russian forces, and the Russian government has given an ultimatum to Mariupol to surrender the city. Photojournalist Max Levin has disappeared on March 13th between Mustun and Huta, where heavy battle took place on that day. He drove on his car to Huta and went with his camera on the Mustun direction. Last message is on 11:23 a.m. Again, journalists being targeted, kidnapped, etc. here in many different regions in Ukraine. We've seen a indiscriminate level of violence against journalists, mainly Western journalists, with the exception to Eastern Russian-backed journalists. They've been allowed to operate in a lot of these areas that are controlled by those Russian forces. 4 hours ago, two missiles have struck. They were targeted Lazova in Kharkiv region. 4 hours ago, explosions reported in Pavlovarad, that's in the Dnipro Petrovisk region. That's in the center of the country there. 4 hours ago, emergency services state Russians shell children's hospital in Severodonetsk, Luhansk Oblast. The hospital's roof caught fire. Again, I reported on this earlier. 7 children and 15 adults were evacuated. The state emergency service has reported. Again, we're still waiting to get some concrete information on if there was any casualties or injuries at that attack. 3 hours ago, Russian military has released a journalist, Victoria Roshina. She is located in the territory controlled by Ukraine and goes to Zaporizhia. Again, reiterating that a lot of journalists have been targeted here. It's been a very risky situation for Western journalists on the ground in Ukraine. 2 hours ago, here's a photo of debris of a missile shot down yesterday near Mykolaiv. I'll try to get that up on screen for you guys here. Here's that image there of that missile debris in a field. 2 hours ago, as a result of shelling that targeted a Lozova town in Kharkiv region, 8 civilians are wounded. About 20 private houses have been destroyed. Again, a picture here of that just utter destruction occurring in Kharkiv to people's houses and homes. It's extremely unfortunate seeing the humanitarian crisis, which is unfortunately unfolding there at this time. About an hour ago, Russian Ministry of Defense claims control over Verkhohino Toretsk. Again, probably not pronouncing that right. But here you can see that is in the Donbass there. Again, they have now claimed control over that town there. About an hour ago, Pavlorahad-2 railway station was completely destroyed in a missile strike. 15 freight cars derailed, and one person was unfortunately killed in that strike there. Again, that is in the middle of the country there, right along the MO4 highway there, leading westbound right into Pavlohrad there. An hour ago, Ukrainian forces shoot down a Russian plane bombing the city. The plane was taken down by Ukrainian military at 4:45 p.m. on March 22nd, says the Mariupol City Council reports. Again, that report down here in Mariupol, as many other reports have come from today of bombing occurring in that city, unfortunately. About 36 minutes ago, one killed as a result of shelling that targeted the Oblon district in Kiev. That's right where our Oasis Center cam was, or has been. That camera again is offline, has been for some time now, unfortunately. We're hoping maybe we can get some eyes on in that area in the coming days. 27 minutes ago, Russian army continues to shell Kharkiv with heavy weapons. You can see a picture there of some damage to a residential building, and I believe this is a video here. No, we don't have the video here up, but you can see that damage there to that residential building, all the windows unfortunately blown out. Again, people live in most of these buildings, and these are people's homes that are being unfortunately destroyed and caught in the crossfire here. 12 minutes ago, Polish Deputy Foreign Minister states that Russia is bombing residential areas and hospitals in Ukraine, and it must stop, right? I mean, again, that's consistent with all the other reports that we've been seeing time and time again. It's been very unfortunate, just the amount of civilian casualties, but not just the casualties, the amount of damage that's been done to people's homes in the region is absolutely devastating. I just refreshed here another quick update. 23 minutes ago, General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine states that Russia has conducted 8 sorties today, including 29 from Baranovichi and Boborusk in Belarus. So they have been getting Russian aircraft up in the air. They've been increasing their bombardment campaign. They've been increasing the sheer level of attacks that they are taking out on both military and civilian targets in a lot of these Ukrainian cities. Very unfortunate situation. Very unfortunate what's happening there. Again, this humanitarian crisis is growing by the hour in Ukraine, and it's only slated to get worse as long as this continues. Again, guys, that's just my quick update there for the morning/afternoon here of March 22nd. I'm going to be getting this uploaded to YouTube as soon as we're done here on the live stream. Again, thank you to everybody that is tuning in. Staffy Dogs. Yeah, dude, I don't know why. I'll actually thank you for tuning back in, Staffy Dogs. I'll definitely take a look at that. I have no idea why. I'll have to take a look and see what happened there. Yeah, I mean, again, thank you to everybody that's tuning in today live. Glad to have you guys on the show. Glad to see so many familiar faces. It's awesome just seeing how many of you are in here tuning into these updates. Again, I've been pretty sporadic the past 2 days as I've been trying to get some work done in the background here. We've been trying to get some systems in place moving forward to make these reports easier. I'm trying to get a schedule done up here as well so that we can have. Kind of a concrete update schedule for reports. Somebody said, "What about those trucks in Belarus?" If you're talking about the forces that are on the northern border, yeah, I mean we've been covering those the past couple days. There's been a large number of reports from eastern Belarus. Sorry, actually eastern Poland, western Belarus, kind of this border here by Brest, where they are amassing forces in that area. Again, we're still waiting to see if the Belarusians actually decide to move in. If they're planning to move in to Ukraine, it still remains to be seen. However, they always say that they're not going to do something and then they do it. Yeah, so again, I'll be uploading this report that we're doing right now. Right after this is done, I'll be uploading this to YouTube, and then throughout the day, I'll be bringing sporadic updates. We'll be talking about flight radar, etc., going into some individual topics, and then later this evening, I'll be giving my nightly reports. That's kind of the schedule we're gonna try to get into is I want to do like a morning report and then a nightly report as well, and then over the course of the day I just kind of hang out with you guys. We cover things as they happen. Um, kind of take a look at radar, developments and stuff like that together, and then I make sure to give two concrete reports in the morning and in the evening so that everybody is covered as for those different time zones. So again, somebody says, "Is there any way we can get notified of the reports? Some of us seem to not get them." Yeah. So my plan is, before I go live with the reports on the live stream, I will post on the Discord as well as on the YouTube channel in the community section. I'll post like an update saying, okay, like the update is going to be live at 1 p.m. Kiev or 7 p.m. Kiev, etc. So I'll make sure to do better at getting those notifications up so that everybody is notified of when reports are going to go live. So right now we just did one at 7 p.m. Kiev. Was it 7 p.m. Kiev? No, it's 8. It's 8 now. So, yeah. So we started at 7 p.m. Kiev and went to 8, about an hour-long update. And then my plan is I'm going to do one later this evening. So it's about 2 p.m. here now for me. I'll be doing one, I think, like another official full-length report. I'll be doing later this evening. And if I don't know, God, I got to get a concrete schedule worked out so that we can. Just make sure to have that posted up so everybody knows when the reports are going to be. Still haven't got that fully ironed out yet, but I will definitely be having another report later this evening, and we're also going to try to have an open panel discussion if we can get one organized. Somebody says, "How is Mehmet?" Mehmet's doing good. Last I heard, he was on his way into Kiev. I still haven't heard from him. I take it he got home and went to bed because that was his plan. Was he was going to go home and get to bed first thing, and then I know he had to wait in Lviv. Yesterday when I spoke with him, he had to wait a few hours in Lviv to get on the train to go to Kiev. Um, uh, and that's kind of like when I last spoke with him, was when he was getting on that train to Kiev. He said, though, his plan was he was going to probably sleep when he got home. He was exhausted after traveling. I hope to hear from him shortly. I sent him a message a little while ago when I woke up. Somebody said he said on his live his plan was a straight stream. Yeah, when he gets up. Yeah, when he gets up, that's his first thing. But no, he was exhausted after being on the train. Yeah, again, thank you guys all for tuning in. Thank you for everybody for the kind words. If you're looking for any links, if you guys are looking to support the stream, or if you're looking for links to the Discord or any of our sources or any of that stuff, you can find that stuff in the description below the live stream on YouTube. If you're watching on Twitch, you can find that stuff on the About page. If you are watching this as a video, once it's been uploaded, you can find everything, all the links you need in the description below the video. We have an amazing community over on our Discord server. I would love if everybody that hasn't yet joins us over there. Everybody is welcome to join. Make sure to read the rules first before you post over there on the server. But we have communities set up over there dedicated to everything from market analysis to politics. We have IT enthusiasts and developers. We have a gaming community. We have a tech support community. We have places to get human resources and emotional support if that's something. The times are really tough right now dealing with a lot of this information that we've been dealing with. So we have we have areas over there on the Discord channel set up to decompress and to unwind. We also have everything for this crisis set up, from flight radar analysis, naval radar analysis. We have people intercepting radio communications. We have people running translations. We have people fact checking news reports that come out. We have people dedicated to just just verifying the cameras are live and geolocating cameras. It's an amazing community. It's an amazing amount of accomplishment that we've been able to muster up over there on the Discord community. I'd love if you guys join. The link to that is discord.gg/NEMICO. There's a link to that in the description below, and we're improving it all the time. We're adding new channels, new features. We're adding new moderators. We're improving the system every day as we go on here. We're going to be getting better and better at what we do here. Again, to reiterate, I know I sound like a broken record. We're looking to get we're going to get a schedule, a concrete streaming schedule set up. And then, I've been experimenting with a few other things like replaying some of the reports from over the day, at certain times. We're also looking, getting the open panel discussions on the air, maybe having some other guests on the air over the course of the day. Because unfortunately, I can't always be on here to give reports. There's a lot of other work that has to, go on here for this operation in the background, as well as, my personal life and personal work that I do myself. So, we're trying to, kind of fill in those gaps there when I'm not on reporting, to give you guys some better content. We have a whole line of video content as well that is in the pipeline that's coming your guys' way. As well as shorts as well. We've been working with a lot of our editors over on the Discord to bring you guys some daily shorts and news updates, smaller kind of micro updates and reports for you guys on the channel for everybody that is subscribed and is looking for, a little bit more content. We'll be bringing it to you guys here very soon. All right, guys. So with that, again, this was your morning/afternoon update for March 22 here. We'll be coming at you later this evening with another report. In the meantime, I'll still be hanging out with you guys over here on the live stream, and we'll be covering some of these updates as they come live here. Again, thank you for everybody that's tuning in. Make sure to hit that like button. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. Best way to get notifications when new streams or videos go live. If you're following along on Twitch, make sure to hit that follow button. I love every single one of you guys on Twitch. You guys are an awesome community over there on Twitch. Glad to have every single one of you guys on board. Until next time, please stand by, and I'll be bringing you another report later this evening.